Hey guys, so today I'm going to show you how to replace the backlight on this, because as you can see it does not light up. You can watch these light up. I think you can see that just faintly. This one is entirely burned out, so we're going to go ahead and replace that. So first thing you want to do is remove this dash piece. So you're going to need to put the key in the ignition, foot on the brake. You don't want to start the car. Put it down all the way into 1, or the lowest gear you can get it to, and then you're just going to simply pull on it all the way around, and then lower your steering wheel. Just like that. So now that's out, you can get to how this is secured into here. So while we're in here, we're going to take this one out and replace the bulb on the accessory lamp as well. So there's a tab up here. If you pry a screwdriver, and tab on the bottom. If you just pry it with a screwdriver, it'll just come out just like this. And then you can undo the electrical connection just by squeezing the tab in and then pulling straight out. So for the top one, you're going to need 2 screwdrivers, one to pry on the top and one to pry on the bottom at the same time. That way you can get this out. So you can get this whole assembly out. That way you don't have to remove this. Alright, so all you're going to do for the lighting housing is you might need to take a pair of pliers or something. What we're going to do is just pull this right off. And then you can flip it over and take the 4 Phillips head screws out of the back. Alright, after you get the 4 screws out, you're just going to set this to the side. And then you might have to force this a little bit, but that's because your bulb is probably melted. Just like that. As you can see right there, it is melted into the plastics down here. You can see there's some dielectric grease, which is going to be okay. But overall, you're going to see that this little plastic piece down in here has melted a little bit. So we're going to get that out and clean it up a little bit. Alright, so we're going to get this bulb out. It is a twist bulb, so you should just be able to twist it counterclockwise and push out. But as you can see, mine is a little bit melted for that. So what I'm going to do, since this is trash, I'm just going to cut it. And then twist it out, and just like that, it comes out. The next part is going to be getting this little clear piece of plastic out. You're going to need a small flathead, and you're just going to have to pry at it around the edges until it comes out. You might have to find a way to get underneath of it and pry up, but it's going to be mostly just getting it over its little retainer clips. So the easiest way, I think, is going to be to flex the plastic, since this plastic does flex. This black plastic surrounding it, just flex it a little bit, and then just slowly take it out that way, and just keep prying on it, just moving it slightly until you can get this retaining clip over here out as well. The next thing you want to do is you're just going to take your wire cutters like this, and you're just going to cut that chunk of melted plastic out of there. That way it is a little bit cleaner, and that way your new LED doesn't get interrupted anyway. Alright, the next one we're going to be doing is this bed light switch. All you're going to do is you're going to notice that there are tabs on 3 of the 4 of these. So you're going to undo this one first. Just like that, where it's not popped in, but it's going to be pretty close. So you're going to have a little bit of, it's going to take a little bit of timing, and you might want to stick another screwdriver in as a wedge or another piece of metal. Just like that. That way you can undo this one while that one's being held. And then that way, when you go to pull it out, this side can come out. So you're going to do that all the way around and get this cover off. Alright, so after you get it all taken apart, all you're going to do is you're going to take this motherboard and slide it out. If you have a button right here, you're going to have to take that button out first. But for me, since all I have is this one single motherboard with a single bulb, this is all I have to do to remove it. So next step is going to be soldering off this bulb and soldering a new one. Alright, so after you have both of them disassembled and down to the motherboard, we're going to put the scroll wheel on the left for the headlight switch, and then we're going to put this, when you take it apart you'll be able to tell the little notches right there. So for this one, the bottom diode will always be the positive one, and top one is negative, so that's good. And then on this one, from the side on where the bulb is, if you're facing with the prongs up, the top will be the positive and bottom will be negative. If you flip it over, the thinner wire will be the positive and the smaller one will be the negative. So let's go ahead and change these toe bulbs out and reassemble. Alright, now they have all the bulbs in. We're going to go test it. This one you don't have to put anything back together, but for this one you're going to want to slide it back into its slot so that way the pins connect properly. So just slide that one right back in how it was. Okay, so we're in the truck. So now all we're going to do is put the key in the ignition, turn it over, and we can see both blue LEDs are working. Since each one has one, we know that all of ours are working. So we can go ahead and reassemble both these assemblies and put them back in place. Alright, so we're going to start with the easier one to reassemble, since all it is a click together. Since you have the motherboard already in place, you're just going to take it, line it up with the holes, snap it together just like that. Alright, so you're going to take this piece right here. You'll see you might have some grease on it like mine, it might not, but you're going to put that piece right there on top of that little ball, and it should rest in place pretty well. So now you're going to flip it upside, this piece upside down, and this scroll wheel goes into that slot right there, and that little pinhole should pop through this hole right here. So I found that if you grab this spindle by the other side, you can move it pretty easily around. So that would be the easiest way to get these four to go into place. Alright, after you get all four screws back in, you're just going to slide this little knob back on, and it'll only go in one direction. As you can see, it's only going to work in one way. So let's go ahead and put this all back in the truck, both pieces, and make sure everything works right. Alright, now that we're back in the truck, we can go ahead and we'll plug everything back in how we had it before, where it's dangling, just to make sure that it all works. As we see, the moment that we plugged everything in, the lights turned on the dashboard. So we're going to go ahead and just keys ignition. And we can see that the modes are indeed working. And we can see that the bulb on this is very faint, but it is indeed working. I think at night we're going to be able to see it more. So I'll come get some footage of that in a little bit. So for now, we can go ahead and just slide these pieces just right back in where they go. They just snap right into place. We can go ahead and grab the trim piece for the dashboard. So we can go ahead and tilt this down, and we can go ahead and put the car into low and get our trim piece back in. Just gives a wee bit of precision, and just like that, it is back in. So I'll come get a video of what this looks like at night and show you that. Alright, now that it's night, you can much better see how you can now see this scroll wheel does not actually have a bulb on it. So that won't ever get illuminated, but this selector will. So now you can see how that is blue and how this is white. Well, it's more of a yellow-white. So I hope this helps, and I'll see you guys next time.